Next up, Princess Kate. She got quite the birthday gift yesterday as she celebrated turning 44.
Catherine's 44th birthday ought to have been easy. Warm regards, a royal birthday, and the customary behind-the-scenes generosity that is seldom reported. What if we told you that something went wrong? Queen Camilla said nothing, and her silence was more powerful than any words. What then actually made Camilla retreat at this particular time? And how does this relate to long-standing family problems that were never fully resolved? Come along as we dissect what is actually happening. Camilla's response on Catherine's birthday. Catherine recently turned 44, and a royal's birthday is often very significant. We're talking about flawless flowers all over the place, palace employees moving around, and those small, upscale treats tucked away in the corners. However, it felt strange this year. Palace insiders claim that this tension was present everywhere. Do you know how it feels to enter a room and immediately sense that something is wrong before anyone even speaks? It was like that. Catherine sensed it. In a setting such as the palace, knowing that something is wrong doesn't require a public disclosure. People's movements, subtle gestures, and, to be honest, the silences that linger a bit too long are all signs of it. Catherine's thoughts immediately turned to Camilla. Recall that Queen Camilla has been playing the long game inside the royal family for decades. She is the most knowledgeable about the regulations. For a birthday like this, she usually sent at least a brief message. But nothing this time. No phone call, no card, not even a passing happy birthday. Why would Camilla disregard Catherine in this way, I wonder? Continue to observe. You might be surprised by the response. Being a member of the royal family is like living a puzzle. The large rituals and crowns are visible from the outside. Despite all the fanfare, things are completely different behind closed doors. Catherine was aware of that. Year after year, she had witnessed it. Thus, when Camilla disregarded her, Catherine grasped the game on her birthday. Palace watchers witnessed it as well. Camilla had become extremely aloof in her dealings with the public, preferring to keep her distance rather than engage in dialogue. The timing of this frigid transfer was traumatic for Catherine, who had already endured a hard year filled with illness, treatment, and a sluggish recovery. Regaining public recognition is never simple. You can play the part, appear composed, and smile for the cameras. However, it hurts when the small acts of kindness and encouragement from people like Camilla are absent. In actuality, the little parcels that Catherine's family had packed had no word from Camilla. There was no attempt to close the distance that had progressively grown between them. However, Catherine did something that caught everyone off guard. You see, she didn't react angrily or aggressively. Over the years, she had discovered that sometimes the best way to handle difficulties in the royal family is to be calm and observe quietly instead of reacting right away. Despite the provocation, she realized that a day like this could still belong to her, her family, and the life she was reconstructing. She didn't require Camilla's approval to demonstrate her value. Rather, she concentrated on the things under her control. Even if some family members choose to keep their distance, she would celebrate the day the way she wanted and in the way that meant something to her. Catherine posted a personal video to the internet around mid-morning. She offered thoughts that were wholly original. It had nothing to do with palace problems or who hadn't gotten in touch. It was about regaining the life that had been taken over by disease, about surviving, and about finding solace in nature following months of cancer treatment. She was seen in the video strolling through gardens as sunshine peeked through the barren winter foliage. By shifting focus from what had been withheld to what she valued most, she structured the day according to her own terms. But that wasn't all. Nobody missed Camilla's silence. Anyone who truly understood the family might sense the anxiety underneath Catherine's composure, even though those watching the recordings might only see the smiles. It was evident to all that this birthday was unique. It served as a test and a reminder for Catherine. That distance may still be painful even in a family with a common history and obligation. The pain was palpable, yet she maintained her composure. Going back to Catherine's video, it became quite intimate. She described how being in nature helped her during her cancer treatment, such as taking a stroll among the trees, feeling at ease, taking quiet walks that allowed her to temporarily escape, and seeing how the seasons simply never stopped changing. She was essentially saying, okay, life goes on, and to be honest, that's rather effective. She found a companion in nature who subtly taught her that medicine isn't the only way to heal. It is personal, spiritual, and emotional. She hardly lets people see this aspect of herself, which is the problem. People felt that even though she wasn't attempting to win praise or pity, while the public would have expected tears or drama, she was perceived by others as a woman who was silently dealing with illness, finding small solace in everyday objects, and simply keeping herself together. Her tale is about perseverance, bravery, and just overcoming difficult times in life in silence. It's not necessary for strength to be loud. You don't simply admire her when you watch her do it. You are also somewhat inspired by it. And it wasn't just about her birthday for Catherine. Stay tuned for the whole story. The birthdays of Catherine, Harry, and King Charles. Following Queen Camilla's first response, Catherine's birthday was celebrated in the area that was most important to her, under her authority, and felt like home. The individuals she could see, touch, and laugh with without worrying about anything were her family. Her birthday was already reclaiming itself in that way. This year was no exception to Catherine's long-standing preference for intimate festivities over public spectacle. The festivities would be modest but significant, and the kids would be at home. Private celebrations of royal birthdays typically involved small meals, anecdotes told at a comfortable table, and gentle laughing that didn't require announcements or photographers. There wouldn't be a big feast or a guest list. No glittering gowns on marble floors going into the hundreds. Conversation, comfort food, and the warmth of caring individuals would take its place. King Charles reportedly had a personal interest in the day. He started by ensuring that the event was informal rather than official. Those who watch the family know that Charles contributes more than just time when he commits to a private event, even though the public would never witness the exact moments. His involvement included setting the table so that everyone felt welcome, gently noting each person's favorite things, and making sure the space was cozy. You will be surprised by what we are about to reveal if you have been following the royal family for a while. Prince Harry and Meghan were the most unexpected of the royal family members who showed their kindness from a distance. They reminded Catherine that they loved her and sent her gifts. The gesture was sufficient even though they weren't physically there. These modest deeds can have a greater impact on royal life than words yelled across a room, since they come silently and individually. Everyone was reminded that birthdays are not just about who is in the room, but also about who is thinking of you when the kids saw the gifts, the wrapping paper, and the thought that went into them. But that wasn't all. The royals discussed school assignments, the weather, and the little triumphs of daily life while they were inside the house. Without even realizing it, this fulfilled all of Catherine's desires. There was no etiquette in the room. It was vibrant, full of everyday human connection, and the delight of being together without pretense. William and Catherine deliberately tried to keep their kids at the center of their lives. Despite the constant public scrutiny, the royals have traditionally placed a high priority on the idea that childhood should be as normal as possible. George, Charlotte, and Louis didn't have to maintain their composure on this birthday. They could run around, play with little gifts, and laugh. For Catherine, their laughing was like medication since it was contagious and spread throughout the room. It's reassured her that simple love existed despite adult conflict and complex relationships. The kids participated in everything from making handmade cards to setting up little decorations, and their presence eased Queen Camilla's earlier pain. Charlotte picked out a drawing she had created for her mother with great care. With his cheeky smile, Louis added the chaotic yet charming touch that only a 4-year-old can manage to a small wooden toy that George had wrapped in brilliant paper. More significance was conveyed by these small acts than by any official gift or recognition. Light-hearted family customs brought the day to life throughout the event. There were light-hearted moments with small jokes and practical jokes that had been a part of the family for many years. Maybe someone slipped a small treat in a pocket, or maybe a chair was shifted a little. Small jokes designed to make everyone chuckle. Without saying anything at all, these birthday festivities managed to reduce stress. Every family member's laugh, look, and remark served as a reminder to Catherine that happiness could be found in even the little things, even in royal life. Instead of using formality, the support that was most important was demonstrated through presence. William was grinning, King Charles was present, the kids were genuinely curious, and the staff was discreetly making sure everyone was comfortable. It was all considerably more important than the other people's missing words. Formal affirmation or ceremonial gestures may not be as important in family life as the physical presence of caring individuals. Catherine sensed the change in the atmosphere. The tables felt cozier and the rooms warmer. The contrast between Camilla's initial coldness and the warmth surrounding her was noticeable by the evening, but it was no longer overpowering. The children grew weary as darkness descended on the estate, and the conversation subsided. Catherine came away from the day feeling warm and invigorated. It was a day that made her aware of her own priorities, rather than a day of spectacular events or media attention. However, another thing caught my attention: the presents. What presents did Catherine receive and who gave her the most? To find out, keep watching. Gifts for Catherine's 44th birthday. As the day wore on, people's focus inevitably shifted to the presents, not because of their cost or glitter, but rather because of what they subtly conveyed. Gifts are rarely given at random in this family. They convey priorities, indications, and even messages intended just for the recipient. That also applied to Catherine's 44th birthday. First up was Prince William's gift, which was perfectly in keeping with his personality. According to those close to the family, it depicts their current situation rather than where the cameras anticipate them to be. The family's focus has changed to making Forest Lodge in Windsor Great Park feel cozy, serene, and useful since they moved there. It was a custom-built oak writing desk, made by a British furniture craftsman famed for conventional construction rather than ostentatious design, if media accounts are to be accepted. According to reports, the desk was placed next to a window overlooking the trees in a corner of Catherine's private sitting area. Additionally, it included shallow drawers big enough for sketchbooks and notes, which drew Catherine's attention because she has long utilized planning and drawing as a way to unwind. Smaller, meaningful objects connected to the house appeared alongside the desk. Hand-glazed ceramic lamps from a tiny Norfolk workshop were featured in reports. They were selected for their gentle light rather than their ornamental flair. A set of gardening tools with hardwood handles subtly carved with the year was also mentioned, signifying Catherine's rekindled passion for being outside. These weren't things intended to impress strangers. They were intended to be put to use. That in and of itself spoke a lot. William's decisions were a reflection of common home interests, a life rooted in routine, family, and healing rather than spectacle. The family relocated to Forest Lodge for a variety of reasons. For example, the house itself is surrounded by grass rather than crowds, making it more private than earlier homes. It has more areas for everyday living and fewer rooms. Experts in royal architecture claim that Forest Lodge offers the best security and distance because it is peacefully situated within Windsor Great Park, far from the main castle complex. It made sense to give gifts related to that environment. Catherine has consistently demonstrated enthusiasm for developing homes. Her modest excursions to suppliers of sustainable materials and heritage workshops last year were reported in interior design magazines. She has demonstrated a taste for timeless pieces, subdued hues, and natural textures over fads. That kind of thinking is seen in the birthday presents. They were forward-thinking without being boisterous, practical but considerate. Instead of stopping in the present, they advised someone to plan for the future. However, that's not all. Then there was the gesture that completely altered the atmosphere, the one directly from King Charles. People in the inner circles of the palace were gossiping about this gift, the one that supposedly struck a profound chord with Catherine. The king handed her a historic piece of jewelry from his own private collection, according to media leaks and royal correspondents who meticulously monitor these details. In situations like this, there is seldom an official confirmation, but multiple sources indicated a sapphire and diamond brooch from George VI's sixth reign. According to reports, it was originally owned by the Queen Mother and hasn't been seen in public for many years. With a core oval sapphire encircled by smaller diamonds set in platinum, the design is ideal for the 1940s. Jewelry enthusiasts have observed that it has only made a few appearances in old photos, mostly during intimate family get-togethers rather than significant state ceremonies. It was not considered a coincidence that it would now reappear and be discreetly given to Catherine on her birthday. These kinds of pieces are never given out carelessly. They are not selected at random or taken from a showcase. It is significant that this brooch is said to have originated from Charles's personal possessions rather than the larger royal collection. It was not a customary gesture. Rather, it was a personal choice. Fundamentally, it is the most obvious way to express trust. Naturally, this kind of signal makes one wonder what it signifies for the other members of the family. Heirlooms like this are more than jewelry, experts will tell you. They serve as a sign that you are welcome here. Offering this brooch was a clear, unspoken hint to Catherine's future position. It had nothing to do with a big speech or an attention-grabbing headline. It was about things that would endure long after all of the participants have passed away. Jewelry is not ornamentation in royal life. It is a language unto itself. Additionally, it's evident that this specific piece was chosen with true care. It wasn't a striking tiara or anything that the general public previously associated with Catherine. It had a deeper significance, yet was quieter. The brooch is associated with ladies who held the throne during times of conflict and misery for the country. The brooch was the most literal representation of continuity, a tangible item that is passed down from one generation to the next with unexplainable stories. It was also an indication of legitimacy. This present sliced right through the clutter of a year full of rumors regarding Catherine's health and status. She was firmly positioned within the circle of trust, not as a supporting character, but as someone who was expected to carry responsibilities in the future. Silently, the media became aware of it. Similar jewels are valued at several £100,000, according to jewelry experts. However, insiders quickly emphasized that money was not the main focus. It was history. This occasion was made even more memorable by the observation that Charles has grown more choosy about what he transfers from his personal collection. For Catherine, the significance extended well beyond metal and stones. The present felt like a confirmation following months of treatment and a cautious return to public life. It served as a reminder that while certain family ties may seem strained or aloof, others are completely supportive of her. It provided something firm and long-lasting to counterbalance the earlier coldness. The atmosphere surrounding her birthday had shifted by the end of the evening. It started with quiet and inquiries about what was lacking, but it concluded with expressive motions. Everything in front of her conveyed a tale of perseverance and community. It hinted at a future that continues to advance despite the stress of the present. Announcements and explanations were not necessary. In a desk that was ready to be used, in a brooch case, and in a house that was gradually becoming theirs, the meaning sat silently. Who remained silent did not define Catherine's 44th birthday. What stayed constant ultimately defined it. One chapter seemed to be coming to an end and making room for the next as the house relaxed and the lights went down. These presents won't just be kept on shelves. They will accompany her as she transitions into new roles, appearances, and the ongoing narrative of her life in the upcoming months. There is an important question that needs to be addressed just before we eat. Why did Queen Camilla treat Princess Catherine with such coldness? The answer is not simple, though. Let's investigate the reason for Queen Camilla's chilly behavior toward Catherine. Thus, one question remained unanswered by the time Catherine's birthday candles were extinguished and quiet descended upon Forest Lodge. The type is familiar to you, the kind of question that doesn't go away when the lights go off. It was the subject of late-night discussions all around London, a persistent topic in internet comment sections, and a rumor in the rear of the room. The same question was posed by everyone. On a day that was supposed to be a celebration, why did Queen Camilla behave so coldly toward Catherine? Like a gentle storm that began long before Catherine ever became a member of the royal family, it has been quietly developing for decades. You must examine the fissures that previously existed inside the family in order to comprehend Camilla's remoteness. Camilla was not entering a friendly, cohesive home when she wed Charles. She stepped into a world of unresolved pain and unfulfilled rage. Harry and William were reluctant to greet her. Both brothers cautioned their father against marrying her, according to reports over the years. Yes, the public's response was important, but the deeper worry was emotional. Diana was more than simply a public figure to them. She was the focal point of their world. That loss would always be associated with Camilla's presence. It was a shadow. Whether it was fair or not, she could never truly get away. That past never vanished. It just sank beneath the surface. The tension remained subtly alive as time went on and roles shifted. Harry then returned it to the open. He portrayed Camilla as someone he did not trust in both his memoir and interviews. He advised her to collaborate with the media to safeguard her position. The harm was done once the allegations were made public. Nothing exists in a vacuum in the life of a royal. Every word spoken in public has an impact on private areas. In all of this, Catherine finds herself in a difficult position. She is on one side of a protracted emotional gap as William's wife. However, loyalty is only one aspect of it. She stands for everything Camilla is not. When Catherine arrived, there was no scandal, no controversy, and no history of a failed marriage after her. She was naturally fond of the public. She gained genuine popularity and widespread trust over time. Seeing Catherine accepted so readily must be painful for Camilla, who battled for legitimacy for decades. Rumors concerning influence and the future are also persistent. Catherine is no longer a supporting character. Everyone is aware that she will be the future queen consort. According to insiders, Camilla is well aware of how fast focus may change. She is no longer the center of attention as she previously was. It usually follows Catherine. That change can feel like a gradual erasure for someone who spent most of her life waiting to be completely recognized. Power is also a factor. Camilla learned the system and managed to live. She became an expert in the routines, the rules, and the silent networks that establish status. Catherine has started to leave that building. Her relationship with the public seems to be emotional rather than controlled. She released a film about illness and healing, but it lacked a polished, palatable message. It struck a deep chord because it was straightforward and intimate. That kind of transparency might be unnerving in a society that values silence and restraint. Everything was sharper because of timing. Catherine's birthday fell during a time when her health was questionable. It was impossible to control or reroute the public's concern and compassion for her. Criticism was almost instantly replaced by support. It may seem incredibly unjust to Camilla, who suffered years of harsh criticism and lack of empathy, to see Catherine receiving grace so freely. Resentment is not always obvious. Occasionally, it manifests as an absence. There are also fractures in families that have never healed. Harry's exit from the royal life was not an isolated event. According to reports, Camilla resisted attempts to rekindle their relationship because she thought he was unstable. Conversely, Catherine has long been regarded as the brothers' quiet mediator. She made room for reconciliation even in their darkest moments. Just that might put her at odds with Camilla's desire for order and strict boundaries. This is fundamentally about legacy. Camilla had a difficult and drawn-out journey to become queen. She was publicly blamed, ridiculed, and discarded. She became wary and guarded as a result of those encounters. Catherine's ascent has been more consistent and well accepted. She is seen by many as a symbol of security and a bright future. Old wounds are not healed by that contrast. It draws attention to them. These don't justify cold behavior, but they do explain it. In the life of a royal, it frequently matters more what is not done than what is done. The gesture that never materialized, the silent phone, and the missing card all have significance. Camilla's calm was a subtle limit. Everyone was taken aback by Catherine's response. She didn't respond in public. She didn't express her upset sentiments or ask for pity. She went on, concentrating on her kids, her recuperation, and her mission. That answer could eventually be more significant than any quiet. In the past, endurance has outlasted authority in this family. These conflicts won't go away quickly as the monarchy moves into its next stage. They are interwoven with one's own past. However, the royal family's power is not set in stone. It changes when people are trusted by the public and when they overcome adversity with grace. Catherine's 44th birthday was more than just a significant occasion. Where quiet strength is settling was made clear. It's possible that Camilla's coldness stems from self-defense or fear. Catherine exuded confidence and a sense of place that is independent of approval. We appreciate you staying with us. Why, in your opinion, did Queen Camilla treat Catherine with such coldness? In the comment section, let us know what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you liked the video. Click the video below to view it as well.